Tiara is a beautiful noblewoman, raised to become the future queen and engaged to Prince Heartknights. Her life seems perfect and predetermined until a single moment shatters everything she believes, revealing that she is not the heroine of her story, but its villainess. The show opens on a calm morning at Lapis Lazuli Academy, but that calm doesn't last long. As Tiara arrives, she is quickly surrounded by her close friends. They are emotional and a little teary, because graduation is just one day away. Tomorrow, their school lives will end, and they know they won't be able to see Tiara as often as before. Still, Tiara doesn't panic or grow sad. With her usual gentle confidence, she reassures them. She explains that she will continue living in the kingdom, and because she is destined to become queen, there will be plenty of chances for them to meet again. Hearing this, her friends immediately brighten up. Their sadness turns into excitement, and before long, they eagerly ask the question everyone has been waiting to hear: when will she finally marry Prince Heartknights? Tiara calmly explains the plan. After graduation, she will begin a full year of bridal training. Only after completing that training will she marry Heartknights in a magnificent ceremony held at the Grand Cathedral. She tells them that she understands the weight of her position, and as the future queen, she will do everything she can to live up to the expectations of the kingdom. Her friends admire her resolve, and with cheerful smiles, they wish her well. Soon after, Tiara heads toward her classroom. That's when she notices Heartknights inside. However, something feels wrong immediately. His posture is stiff, and his expression is unusually cold. She senses that something troubling may have happened. Just as she prepares to approach him, everything changes in an instant. Suddenly, a girl named Akari rushes into the room and throws herself straight into Heartknight's arms. He catches her without hesitation, and the grim look on his face disappears. Then, fully aware that Tiara is watching, Akari turns around and gives her a smug, almost mocking smirk. Tiara freezes where she stands. She stares at the two of them, unable to move. And at that exact moment, her world collapses. A flood of memories crashes into her mind. She remembers that she is not truly Tiara. In her past life, she was an ordinary girl who loved playing female games. This world, this academy, and these people all come from one of those games. Even worse, she remembers the truth about herself. She is not the heroine. She is the villainess. In the game, the heroine was Akari, the player character. Tiara was the antagonist standing in her way. Heartknights was the main love interest, and Akari was meant to win his heart. The realization hits her all at once, and the shock is too much for her to handle. Her vision fades, her body gives out, and she collapses on the spot. When Tiara finally regains consciousness, she finds herself lying in a bed inside the Academy's clinic. Sitting stiffly beside her is Heartknights. Without much warmth, he informs her that he has already arranged a carriage to take her home. Surprised, Tiara looks at him. She remembers how Heartknights was portrayed in the game as kind, gentle, and devoted once his route was cleared. But the man before her feels completely different. Her illusion shatters with his next words. Coldly, Heartknights remarks that it is strange for her to faint so suddenly. He asks whether this was merely an act, done out of jealousy toward Akari in order to gain his attention. His detached tone makes it painfully clear that the Heartknight she admired in the game does not exist. Before she can respond, he adds another blow. Although he is still officially her fiancé, he explains that he will not be escorting her to the graduation party. Tiara quietly accepts his apology, maintaining her composure until he leaves the room. But once she is alone, her face turns pale. She knows exactly what this means. Attending the graduation party alone will be deeply humiliating for someone of her status. Worse still, she knows what comes next, because she has already played this story countless times. As her carriage carries her back to her family's manor, her thoughts drift back to the game's original plot. Akari enrolled in the academy thanks to her rare and powerful magic, known as the Holy Prayer. Over time, she caught Heartknight's attention, and once the player began winning him over, he showered her with affection. Their romance unfolded through a series of special scenes, all leading to a perfect ending, a grand wedding in the cathedral. Meanwhile, Tiara's role was always the same. She was harsh, strict, and disliked. At the graduation ball, she was meant to be condemned for bullying the heroine. In the game, Akari triumphed, while Tiara was dragged away and publicly disgraced as her engagement was broken. As she rides home, Tiara feels sick. She doesn't believe she has done anything truly cruel since being reborn. Still, she quietly hopes that reality might be kinder than the game. Even so, deep down, she believes there is no happy ending waiting for her. When she arrives at the manor, she is greeted warmly by a maid named Fellini. To her surprise, her parents are waiting eagerly inside. They excitedly explain that they wanted to give her new accessories for her upcoming wedding and spend time enjoying sweets together before her bridal training begins. Her father, Schnaz, admits that he simply wants to cherish these moments with her. Though he will miss her dearly, he says that above all, he wants Tiara to be happy with Heart Knights. Touched by their kindness, Tiara smiles and treasures the moment. From a young age, she had known she would one day wear the crown. Because of this, her upbringing was strict and demanding. Schnaz, in particular, pushed her to become a dignified and capable future queen. Over time, Tiara herself became strict, especially toward Heart Knights. Whenever she felt he behaved improperly, she scolded him not out of malice, but out of love. Unfortunately, he never understood her intentions. Instead, he came to see her as cold and cruel. For a brief moment, Tiara considers skipping the graduation party entirely, but she quickly scolds herself. For someone of her position, failing to attend would be disgraceful. So, for the sake of her parents, she resolves to face whatever awaits her. Elsewhere, a mysterious figure named Aqua activates his magic, quietly wishing for a different future for Tiara. On the day of the graduation party, Tiara's friends gather around her once more. They complain bitterly about Akari's behavior, pointing out how disrespectful it is for her to cling to Heart Knights while Tiara is still his fiancé. They promise that no matter what happens, they will stand by Tiara's side. She thanks them sincerely. But once she is alone, her hands begin to tremble. Felony approaches her and gently suggests calling Schnaz to escort her to the party. However, Tiara refuses. She doesn't want to burden her father, and she knows it would only worry him. Still concerned, Felony tries to cheer her up by bringing in a table filled with sweets. At the sight, Tiara's eyes light up. She takes a biscuit, and instantly, her mood improves. Remembering how much she loved baking and sweets in her past life, she feels grateful that this small joy carried over. Felony admits that she simply wanted to see Tiara smile before the party, and Tiara thanks her warmly. Just then, Akari enters the room. The two exchange polite greetings. Tiara can't help but notice how beautiful Akari looks, dressed in an elegant gown and sparkling jewelry, everything befitting the heroine of the story. Akari expresses concern about Tiara's collapse the previous day, saying that both she and Heart Knights were worried. Moments later, Heart Knights himself appears. He explains that Akari insisted on checking on Tiara's condition. He asks whether Tiara still intends to attend the party. She confirms that she does, though she still has preparations to finish. Understanding this, Heart Knights and Akari leave together. Soon after, Tiara stands before the massive doors of the party hall. She knows that once she steps inside, the condemnation event will finally begin. The guards open the doors and announce her arrival. Gasps echo throughout the hall as guests notice she has arrived alone. Heart Knight stands beside Akari at the front of the room. Without hesitation, he begins his announcement, declaring that he is officially breaking off his engagement with Tiara. As murmurs fill the hall, Tiara steps forward. Keeping her dignity intact, she asks him for his reason, stating that she does not deserve to be humiliated so publicly. Heart Knight scoffs, accusing her of pretending not to know. He claims she mistreated Akari because she came from the countryside. Tiara calmly responds. She explains that she was strict only because Akari was unfamiliar with the kingdom's customs and laws. She believed it was her duty to teach her properly. Heart Knight counters her words, accusing her of forcing Akari to kneel and preventing her from dancing with him. Tiara does not raise her voice. She explains that bowing before a prince is customary, and that dancing with the crowned prince more than twice in one night is a privilege reserved for his fiancée, which was supposed to be her. She coldly reminds him that he should know the rules of his own kingdom. Her reasoning only angers him further. Realizing that she is destined to lose this argument no matter what, Tiara stops fighting. She calmly states that she will accept the broken engagement, since his heart clearly belongs to Akari. Satisfied, Heart Knight announces that his engagement with Tiara is dissolved and that he is now engaged to Akari, the future queen. Tiara tries to steady herself, reminding herself that she still has her family and friends. But then comes the final blow. Heart Knight declares that Tiara will be banished from the kingdom for harming the future queen. Tiara freezes. This is worse than anything that happened in the game. If she is banished, she will lose everything. Just as despair threatens to consume her, a new voice cuts through the hall. Prince Aqua steps forward, declaring that Heart Knight has gone too far. He approaches Tiara and asks if she is all right. She recognizes him instantly, the crown prince of the kingdom of Marin Forest and the main love interest of the game's sequel. With a firm yet gentle voice, Aqua tells her to stand tall. He openly criticizes Heart Knight, stating that humiliating her at a celebration is disgraceful and unworthy of a prince. Then, after confirming that her engagement has truly ended, he kneels before her and proposes. The hall falls silent. Tiara is stunned as he confesses that he has long wished to make her his wife. He tells her she does not need to answer immediately. He gently kisses her hand, leaving everyone speechless. Akari protests, insisting that Tiara does not deserve happiness. She grabs Aqua's arm, but he coldly pulls away and orders her removal for disrespecting him. Akari is dragged from the hall as shock spreads through the crowd. Turning back to Tiara, Aqua apologizes for the disturbance and promises that he will always come to her aid. As she looks at him, Tiara realizes that the story has completely changed, and now, her future is unknown. That marks the end of today's Recap. If you enjoyed the video and want more of it, please support the channel by leaving a like and subscribe. Let's help us reach a current goal of 10K subscribers.